Well, good evening, folks. I hope you're having a pleasant evening. We're going to be doing some more pixel art tonight. We'll see how it goes. Last night I got a bit of progress. Not as much as I would have liked, but it was enough for a start. I'm not very familiar with pixel art, and I knew it was going to be a little bit of a challenge because I'm not super familiar with it, but it's getting easier. And hopefully, much easier as of tonight. Guess we'll find out. Anyway, we're going to be pressing on with trying to get this game finished, and it is almost there. Right now I just have to do the artwork for it. I was doing some experiments, and I kind of like this idea of trying to go with well, I kind of wanted to go with an old Game Boy feel, and I realized that was just one step too far, and I'd have to redesign a lot, and it was not looking so good, even though I would prefer to have like the old-fashioned green screen. Anyway, we're going to be pressing on and see how far we get. By the way, this is our second day of being back on Twitch. And I have looked a little bit into Twitch, and it seems like a lot of the problems that I have with them have been resolved. Or at least on paper they've been resolved. Whether or not they actually act on it is another thing entirely. But it does raise an interesting point. At what point do you finally say, give something another chance? I would argue the point where you give something another chance is when it has been enough time to be able to wisely, well, let me put it this way. You should not hold a grudge forever. And one of the biggest problems I have with the system that what Twitch has is that there was no way to do appeals for when there was all the nonsense that was taking place. We're giving it another shot because so far I've heard that they have resolved some of their problems, but it's more the question of that, are other platforms doing any better? And they're not. So right now it's kind of null and void at this point. YouTube was trying to say that they were doing better, and then Rumble came along and said they were trying to do better. X did the same thing, and none of them did. So that's why we're back over here. Greetings there, Anna. How are you doing this evening? What have you been up to? I'm going to mirror this later on. but I kind of want to see which side ends up better. Doing good. Dandy. So I found out another neat feature here. Where is this? Grid. Grid settings. I was trying to find this last night. Finally figured out where it is. It's right here. Now I have my grid, so I don't need my guides the way that I used to. I can now just work off this. Good, but going through a lot. That's, it's kind of understandable. What's been happening in life? Why is that not drawing? Oh, it's because I'm on the wrong layer. Of course. Actually, I think I can hide that. Okay, fix that. There we go. Let's lock that. Move that on up. And let's change the color around. Grandpa passed. Sorry to hear that. The loss of family members is definitely one of the hardest things to go through. I'm sorry that you have having to go through that right now. I hope and pray that any sort of frustrations or pains will subside soon. And that is a positive thing. Hope is kindled by the knowledge of, that you'll get to see him again. The pain comes from having to wait. But indeed, it is good that you're able to see it in that way. A lot of people don't. And it does make it difficult for them as they go through life, because they have to then, they have to suffer without hope, without a realization that the pain will end. The fact that the fact that you will get to see him again is indeed something that makes a lot of people envious. A lot of people don't understand what it's like to have hope. Stand by and see what the glitch is there. Anyway, almost at 100 subscribers. Yes, indeed. Although, it's kind of been that way for a long time. I actually was much higher once. It spiked, and then it fell. Turns out that if you say certain things, you lose large groups of your audience. And for me, it was back several years ago in which I said something that really triggered a lot of people. Because it was, I was calling out a problem that I was seeing. And in doing so, I ended up making a lot of people leave. So, that sort of stuff is going to happen. And you can't change people's minds in that moment. You can try, but it's not guaranteed to be successful. That was when I took a stand for somebody that apparently other people did not want me to take a stand for. And I paid the price by losing support. So when we get past 100, then we'll be off to the races. But the one benefit is that the Twitch side has actually had a lot of growth. So tired, sorry, bye. Rest well. And hope that you are able to find courage and hope in the loss that you've had. Rest well, Anna. See you next time, whenever that is. It is kind of interesting when you think about the different struggles you'll go through. One of those struggles that you don't really get prepared for is irrelevance. And yet most of us in this life will experience some level of irrelevance. Question is, what will we do when that day finally comes? Because it will come for a lot of us. Maybe not everyone, but a whole lot of us will experience irrelevance. Gotta pull up my reference image again. Anyway, it's important to remember to still, to not let it embitter you, is the moral of that story. I won't go on that discussion for too terribly long. I talk about that stuff all the time anyway. Okay, I found an interesting map. This is actually an official Game Boy map that I'm going to be using as my reference. And it's actually going to be pretty helpful. All right, I think this will work. Hey, Ben here. Since you were talking to Anna, I just wanted to ask, what does Ernestance gifted you a? What does Ernestance gifting you a tier 1 subscription mean? I really don't really use Twitch much, which is actually the second time I have used Twitch. Well, greetings there, Spidey. Hope you are doing well. So there's a couple of things that the subscription does. First off, it gets rid of the majority of advertisements. By the way, it's one of the things I turned off when I started using Twitch. I got so fed up with the advertisements, I turned it off, and oh my goodness, the channel's growth plunged. So that's the first thing that it does, is it gets rid of the majority of the ads that are left. I have the ability to like turn it on like every few minutes to every like hour, and I have at the very lowest that it can be. So when you have a subscription, it gets rid of the those advertisements. Second off is it also gives you access to a couple of other features, including things like the emotes. Now, I don't have a whole lot of emotes. I try not to lock them down a whole lot, but some of them are locked because that's how it is structured. So one of the examples is we have the uncivil emote that I just put into the chat. There are a couple others as well, but I don't remember which is which because I can't see it on my side immediately. So that's another thing that happens. The third thing is that you get channel points more often. Now, channel points are marked in this particular stream as pieces of silver. You have the ability to use it for different redeems. Now, a lot of people will choose kind of weird redeems. They'll say things like, take a drink of water. I was like, I drink water constantly. I don't need a reminder to drink water. Another one will be, oh, check your posture. I decided to do things a little bit more interesting. One of them is highlight messages. That's kind of by default. Choose an emote that you have originally locked. Change voice to Milo. That used to be really popular when I was first getting these streams started. And I would go into character. Another thing was that there was the ability to have story time. There was originally artwork that you could redeem. And then we hit a problem. The artwork got redeemed so much that I ended up getting swamped. So I got rid of that. Instead, you now have a different thing called Silver Dump. So Silver Dump is gives you access to the different system of channel point redeems over here. This is the Castercraft channel point redeem system. So you have the ability to play sounds like Yoda screaming, things like that. Not many people have used this, understandable, but other folks will try and use things like they'll have audio tied to Twitch directly through a third-party tool. I decided to make my own third-party tool because every other system was glitching with my Twitch. I didn't want to spend extra money to actually use it, so I just made my own. That's what comes with your subscription. Now, there's some other things people have done, but we have never really had subscribers to really bother trying to lock things behind a paywall. So I never really flushed it out the way that other people have. So those are the things, though, that you get with your subscription. Hopefully that makes some sense. I actually like how Twitch has that stuff structured. I just don't like how they... they've made it very difficult for some of the creative stuff that I wanted to try and do. Like, one of the things I wanted to do was I was originally going to have, like, postcards that people could receive. They could redeem points for a postcard, and it would have, like, custom artwork on it, and then you would receive it in the mail, whatnot, with a message, whatnot. And then it was like, oh, well, you can't do that, because it doesn't, there's not, like, official system for that. So I was like, okay, well, fine. So I went with just the artwork that people could redeem, and that worked out just fine, but it took so much more effort to do. One of the other things I was trying to figure out how to redeem was little booklets, because it takes me very little to make these booklets. Never got that off the ground. Maybe I'll do that again in a while. Alright, let's pull up that map reference again. Okay, next we have to put the roof onto this. Grab that file and bring it on over. Where is that? Oh, I found out where that thing was missing. Okay. I need to keep track of that. I lost something earlier, and I just found out where I placed it. All right. Bring in the ceiling. We just want tile number 4. Copy that. Paste. And how am I going to do this? Oh, wait a minute. I can't do that in there. I have to put that in another layer. Here we go. Paste that in there, and then we want to have a new group. Put that inside of the group. Now we can hide that, no problem. Next, can I do a mask on this? No, I can't. Okay, that's fine. Let's duplicate this. over. Duplicate again. Move it on over. Merge down, and duplicate again. There we go. The top of the walls here. Now, what we're going to do is we're going to come in here, select the white, come to here, and I'm going to invert our selection and delete. Delete. Hello. Oh, wrong one. Delete. There we go. Then come here, and just going to erase this one normally. There was a stream that I got to see some time back, and the person who was doing the stream had a very interesting series of redeems, and they all were about basically being well-mannered. That's a kind of a common one for folks, but this one in particular kind of weirded me out, because basically he would misbehave just so people would feel compelled to want to use channel points to get him to start behaving. It sounds clever at first until you start to realize you got a lot of people watching. And you have a lot of people that are actually going to be a bit judgmental, rightfully so, when you start to misbehave like that. And he had no problem kind of throwing a fit in a moment's notice. What he didn't realize, though, is that he actually had somebody that was watching him. Somebody that was waiting for him to kind of correct himself. And he was standing by with a bit of money, ready to show support. And he never gained control of himself. He lost more and more of his mindset. He got more out of control. And finally the guy just left and he didn't do his donation. How do I know this? Because that guy came and talked to me shortly thereafter and mentioned about it. It's like, oh, wow, that guy missed out. Always realize that somebody, somewhere, could be watching you. Not to try and make you paranoid or whatnot, but it's more like the realization of that we're all supposed to be on good behavior. And some streamers like the idea that they're kind of free spirits, and not realizing that there's a lot of people that kind of are waiting for them to gain control of themselves. And to them, while it's a bit insulting to think about that, it really is a good practice to have, to gain control of yourself and say, you know what, I'm going to have some level of decorum, some level of honor in how I go about doing things. Sometimes it pays off. Sometimes you just have to go through life and wonder if anyone cared. One day, I was working at Disney. I was at the parks working at Epcot in Florida. And someone came up and was ready to go, who was just coming back from break. And they came up with this little ticket and waved it in my face like, hey, it's time for your break. And I was like, okay, well, I'm just going to get through the rest of the people here at the register and then I'll go on break. And the person sat back there and just watched. And as I'm going through, finishing up the all the people in the right in front of the register. This student got a little irritated as time was going on, and before long started to rant and rave about how frustrating it was that I was kind of having fun with the guests. Guests would come up and I would treat them well, and I kind of eventually the student ended up blurting out in frustration, "Why can't you just take a break like everyone else? Why do you have to actually care about your job? Nobody else does." And this guy who was at the register, he was the last one in the line, looked up, held up a card, and placed it down on the table and says, "I care." We look at the card. It is a Disney executive discount card. It's one of the top people in their recruiting office. That student's face went white, and she ran. Just ran out the door, realizing that her own words had ruined an opportunity. And there was me, suddenly unable to go on break because the person who's supposed to replace me ran when this guy showed up. And you know, while it didn't actually benefit me in any way, shape, or form, it did remind me of something I ended up benefiting from as time went on. I learned to be patient as a result, because I realized that anyone could be watching at a moment's notice and could change your life forever. Now, it didn't necessarily change my life. I didn't go to Disney. I didn't take him up on the offer of, he was like offering me a position at the parks, and I didn't take it because I had to go back to school and I would have to drop out to be able to do it. But it was something where it could have turned around in just a brief moment. I actually had options. The student who ran away when she lost her temper, she didn't have that option. I wonder what would have happened if I had accepted. I very much wonder. A lot of people get that sort of position, and a lot of people don't. To be offered it was something. But it doesn't necessarily mean that that's what you should be doing. And I realized that as I thought about it. The guy left and I couldn't go through with it. I was like, no, I best go about on the path that I'm already on. And he's like, well, I hope it still goes well. And I parted ways. I have no idea whatever became of that fella. But I remember how he changed a lot of my mindset just by the way he threw down that card. It's easy when you know that you're being watched. It's a lot harder when you don't think that there is anybody watching. And then suddenly up comes the guy and it's like, I'm the recruiter. Surprise. Didn't he say something to me? He did. He offered me a position at the parks. He wanted me to be a manager. But I was in college and I would have to drop out in order to do it. That was what he said after he threw down that card. and that after the student ran. But he did mention something else. He said that, well, he was mentioned like how important it is to be able to treat guests with courtesy. Something that other student wasn't so happy to do. Man, it would have been interesting to try and do that, though, to try and become like a manager there. Now, granted, there was a lot of problems with management around there. It would not have been necessarily a guarantee success story. It could have been an absolute nightmare. And I did know somebody where it did become a nightmare. It was New Year's Eve, if I remember right. Either that or it was the day after New Year's. And there was a manager who was around my age, a little bit older. And he had had just come into the position, and he ended up messing up horribly. He was new, and somebody didn't like him being there, and they sabotaged his job. And so he was there for one day, and then he was gone because things went so badly for him. I knew that there were people at the parks that would do stuff like that, and so I was not very keen on trying to risk that because I already had somebody that was like, did not want me to be there. That's another story for another time, but it's kind of ironic because the person who ran had falsely accused me of being problematic to the company not a few days beforehand, and I didn't know about it. You know, if that recruiter had not shown up, I may have actually been fired because of the accusations. People like that stood up for me, though. You never know until it's already happened. I originally wanted to work at Disney, and I was going to put in for an internship, and then I found out that they were no longer hiring, and they were no longer hiring Americans, and they were not hiring interns. They got rid of that function about 2 years before I got there. They got rid of it because Americans were becoming too expensive. I was living off of less than minimum wage. I was losing money working at the parks. But I was doing it for experience. It was like a college degree, you could say. But I didn't have any ability to move on from there unless I wanted to become a manager. That was the only option that was open to me. I wanted to go into film. I wanted to go into their animation department. And they got rid of that. Interesting how that happens. Okay, our wall setting is done. Let's pull this back and let's take a look at this. Let's add a bit of a shadow right here. I got stories galore of Disney. And but one of the things that I learned when I was working there is that the job will be as enjoyable as you want it to be. There were people there who said that Disney lost the magic when they worked there. They became frustrated, bitter, unable to really enjoy the parks ever again. Now, was that really what was happening? In a way. But the difference was that a lot of people wanted a fairy tale to unfold, and it didn't. It was work. It was tiring. It was insulting. And I had a blast. I thought it was a great experience. I was one of very, very few people who thought that. Other people would go and drink every weekend to try and forget how painful it was to work there. So, did I have a really good job and everyone else had a really bad one? Not really. It was personality. I had the exact same job as other people. One difference, I was willing to enjoy the position and not look for everything to be bad. Other people could not do that. It was too much for them to try and look for the positive. They just wanted to see the negative. So when they came away, they were bitter, they were angry. And then I watched, as a friend of mine, someone asked them if they should go and join the program, and they said, "Oh yeah, absolutely, it was the best thing in the world." And I knew that student did not think that, because all that student did was complain about how terrible it was. I came away with something different. I said it was a great experience, I learned a lot, but I do not advise people to go by themselves. There's a lot of problems, a whole lot of problems. I was very blunt with people, but I still said that it is a great experience. Contrast. Someone who has a bad experience but tries and dilutes the truth, or someone who took my approach. It was a great experience, but I do not advise it for everyone. It takes a level of wisdom and maturity that a lot of people struggle with. Oh, look at that. The Twitch Automod actually caught one of the bots. Really, Stream Boo is still happening? How long has Stream Boo been attacking Twitch and they still can't get rid of it? That's ridiculous. I thought for certain that they would have changed the name or something, because the fact that they're using the same bot suggests that they would have, clamped down on it by now. All right, so now what we're going to do is we're going to grab all these. We are going to actually save the file first. Save the file, and now we're going to save an iteration of it, because this is where we're going to start combining the elements, because this thing is not very good at working with layers. So we're going to combine all of those. We're going to merge them together. Actually, let's change the hotkey for this. There we go. All right, merge on down. Oh, it's in the group. That's why. One of the most frustrating things, though, at the park was the people that were rude. That was probably the most frustrating. Wasn't the bot removed? Penguin Z0 had posted about that, I think. I thought it was removed too, but apparently it's still there because the automod caught it. But I'm surprised that they can post at all. That's what really surprised me. If you're posting on Twitch chat, that means you have to have an account. That means that Twitch can figure out where the account is coming from and block it. Apparently, they don't care. By the way, that's why we had so many problems last year when I was mentioning about having to deal with the violent stuff. Because it was something very, very similar. And it was harassing me. And while most of it was caught, some of it wasn't. And I just got fed up of, being told violent stuff. I'm going to move it down here. And what we're going to do now is select this area. Uh-oh. Oh, wait a minute. Can I select the grid? Did it just select that for me? It does. Oh, that's cool. Oh, that is a great feature. Okay. Off to the races now. Let's just move that over there after we merge these together. What we're doing now is we're adding variety to the wall. And by doing this, I can start doing the variations within here. How do I move and keep the old? Nope, not that one. Copy. Paste. Oh, ho, ho. Perfect. That's simple. And paste. Well, well, well. So, now I'm going to add in the piping from beforehand. Let's add this to a new layer. So on the original one, what we have is a bunch of wall tiles that are like this. Very simple, but now I want to try and make it in the style that I've been working with so far, but I want to add some of that grunge back into it. So I'm going to try and do these one at a time here. Just add in a little bit of piping and stylize it a little bit. Let's start off by adding in this. When I was, just before I went down to Disney, I got to do an internship. And there was a guy who had a game that he was making. I don't know how many people nowadays have heard this story before. I used to tell the story every now and again. But there was a guy that was trying to make his own game. We were fresh out of college, and I was living in the same house as 3-4 other guys, and one of them was trying to make a game during that time frame. And he did not really tell us a whole lot about it. He was very secretive about it. Oh, I'm making this game, and he never let us really see much about it. Well, finally, one day he did. He invited us into his room to be able to see him demonstrate the game that they had made. Oh my goodness, it was bad. I do not say that lightly. It was one of the worst possible games he could have made. But how? How did it go from... How did he go that long to make a game that was so very bad? And it was super unoriginal. It was about one of the worst games that he could have even imagined. So how did he end up messing up so badly? Well, it comes with the fact that he didn't play test it. He didn't ask people's opinions. And when he did get their opinions, he didn't like it. So we got to sit down and watch him, because he wouldn't let us do it. We watched him play his game. And we came to the end, and each one of us are looking at each other while he's playing like, oh, this is ridiculous. And finally he turned around and was like, isn't it the best game ever? You know, like, trying to be as soft about it as we can, saying, it's got potential. Is this going to be like a test game? Like, no, this is the game. Like, going to be selling it. And he thought somehow he was going to become like the next Blizzard or something. Oof. He didn't understand how to test his ideas and see if they were good. He only knew how to receive praise. He didn't know how to receive criticism. That's an important life skill, to receive criticism and not become defensive. What kind of game? Racing? Shooting? It was a top-down, kind of like this game, but it was balloon pirates with biplanes. It was the weirdest idea. It wasn't that the game mechanics were terrible. The world and the story were terrible. It was completely forgettable. He had spent no time developing a story. And thus, when it finally came to testing it, well, it did poorly. And nobody wanted to tell him that was the case, because he was so very protective of his story, of his idea. It's like he wanted so badly to be a success, and he didn't realize to be able to do that, you have to be able to accept correction. You have to be able to accept that maybe you could improve, and he could not. Greetings there, Manboo. How you doing? Little Pepe wave. Okay, how come this is not working? I thought I was able to create new colors this way. Let's just pull it down like this. No? Nope. Okay, I gotta figure this out. Where is that documentation? Sprite. Add color. But anyway, when the game was finally ready to release, he became strangely silent after that, and he changed careers. The reason why it was so problematic is that he invested a lot of money into it. I've invested almost nothing into this game. He invested a small fortune into it. He made it so that 4 other guys had tied their careers to him. And it all failed. And rather than do things gradually and wisely, he threw everything into it and lost everything to the point where he had to change his job. Thankfully, I've not had to do that, but it very well could have happened. A lot of people have a dream, and when they try and pursue it, sometimes it's successful. Sometimes it's an absolute disaster. It's important to try and be wise when you are trying to do something new and different. Oh, here we go. Add to the palette. Oh, that's why. No, never mind. Okay, I was wrong. Move that on up here, right between that and that. All right, now let's try it. All right, now that is much better. But anyway, don't know whatever became of the guy, but he was very, very angry when that happened. And I guess that's understandable. When a dream comes to an end, you do get defensive. But you gotta remember to still treat people with kindness even when your dream comes to an end. Okay, there we go. Now that turned out much better. Let's add a connection point down here. Like it's going into the floor. Okay, and now let's go over and do this one. We're going to do the same sort of thing. This time we can just grab the colors. This one's probably going to be a little bit more of branching here, just for the sake of it. See what it looks like. If it doesn't work, then it doesn't work. Go back and change it. But how often, I think this is the moral of the story. How often are we willing to ask someone else for guidance and wisdom? And how many times do we say, you know what, I just want to do something and you know what, it will be successful regardless. How many of us are willing to accept correction along the way? That's a hard one. To be able to look at, to watch as somebody critiques Now, what happens if you're the one who has to do the critiquing for somebody else? Are you going to do so graciously, kindly, with mercy, wanting to see them succeed? Or will you get vengeful and say, oh, okay, now's a chance to like grind it into them and to like show them how terrible they are? That sort of stuff can happen very easily. And that happened during for a project I was working on. Somebody came up, and what I didn't know is that they didn't like what I was doing, and they decided that they wanted to try and tear it apart. So they came in and said, hey, I want to give you some constructive criticism. And then they proceeded to say horrible things related to it. And it's like everything was wrong, and it was gleeful for them. They were happy to tear it apart. That same person could not accept criticism for their own stuff that they had made. Now, when you receive stuff like that, you have to still be kind about it when you hear it. You don't know what is going on in their life. And it may be that it will still make you better by hearing that stuff. But you shouldn't let it destroy you. That's something that can be a little hard to remember. Some people want to just watch you in pain. Those people are not wise. Those people are not kind. They will come and they will go. Stand up underneath it. Bear the suffering and press on regardless. You don't know how it's going to help you. It may transform you in ways you have no idea, and won't for a long time. Anyway, those are my ramblings for the night. Probably should find something else to focus on, otherwise I'll stay on this train for a long time. Guess we got another pipe here. I'm not happy how that one turned out, but you know, it's just for the sake of trying to make it a different style here. Now this one, let's make this one a little bit larger. Why is it not? Oh yeah, that's right. Alpha. There we go. Let's change this back to circle. And let's have it this large. Let's have it slightly off. Just going up. It's a floor to ceiling pipe. And we'll have another one right next to it. Lock alpha. Add shadow to the inside. And also along the top. Let's add a light as well. We'll do the light actually in just a moment. But as such, it will be that the light's going to be affecting this side a little bit more so, and this side not so much. Alright, now let's add in a new layer, and this one will be lights. Let's do something different with this, actually. Okay, let's start off with this, and then what is the button? R. Kind of weird that they choose R. I guess they already have B toggled for a brush, so that makes sense, I guess. Now let us add in the actual light part of it. So we'll have light as kind of a little bar, and then we'll have let's have it here. So we'll just have it go up like that. Mirror that a little bit. Add in some shadow in the middle, and then along the top. Stretch out the slide a little bit. There we go. It's not terrible. I mean, I'm not super happy with how that turns out. Let me look at what the other one was like. Oh, no, actually, that's decent. But I noticed with the other one, the original, I muted this and also added in a bit of a black outline to make it stand out. There we go. Now let's go back over to the pipe here and let us add in a few more shadows. Make sure to have alpha. I wonder what the hotkey, if I can make a hotkey for that one. Simple ink, and now fill in this area down here. That's decent. What am I going to do for the next? Oh, that's the other thing I need to do for this. Because right here, they start to look like they're merging together. I'm going to have to outline right around there, so that way they stand out. There we go. That's a little bit clearer. How about a vent of some kind? Let's add in... Start off by adding in the outline for it. Now, let's add in the center. One of the neat things about pixel art is that you can kind of suggest something without having to really put a whole lot of effort into it. Shadow underneath it. And I feel like I need to darken that just a little bit more. What would happen if I blurred it a little bit? I kind of like how that one looks. If too many things are blurred, it looks a little weird. Alright, so we have those. A couple other ones I want to do is panels. But first, let's add some grunge to these. That's going to require us to add a little bit of extra lighting along the bottom here. Just because I want to see what this looks like. Now let us reduce the opacity on that. Guess I should widen this. You know, on the original one, I had like these beams in between. I think the beams are going to be necessary. I kind of liked how the beams turned out. So let's get rid of this for the time being. And let's add in the beams in between. Add in gradient and continue this. Wait a minute. That's right. I have to first select this, invert it. Now I can do this. And I should get rid of that down here. Wait a second. Let's go with that one. Now let's add some blackness on the outside. So one side is a little bit thinner than the other, so that way we have like a direction of our shadows. I think that'll probably be beneficial. What else? Oh yeah, panels. So what we're going to do now is we're going to grab this, copy, paste like earlier. I'm going to put that down here, paste here. I'm just going to add a few more variations. Now, because we did this with this also, what we can do is we can copy this, paste it, and put that over top as well. Lovely. So now for this one, we want some panels. So we have these right here. Let's do some panels. I had kind of a structure that, let's see here. Keep going, never give up. Much appreciated there for the encouragement. Lu Shul Meadow. Nice work. Well, much appreciated. Hopefully the final game will actually, be tolerable. It's my first time of doing this, so I'm not very good at it, but I'm learning along the way. Hopefully it works. We're within probably about a week of it being finished. Maybe the next one will be better, when it finally happens. How you doing, sir? Sorry, ma'am. Sorry. What are you up to? And do you have an interest in either pixel art or games? Let's see here. I want to add in, first off, starting with some brighter panels. What's the game about? Well, it's it was a test. It was a test to try and learn coding. Actually, I realized I didn't actually turn the game on before we started, because I normally like to show it. It's not like it's anything too special. It's a simple game. Okay, so got that there, and refresh. Okay, mute it. It's this one right here. This is the very simple game. And right now it is a bit of a, you could say, an alien hunter game. And, gotta get away from that. And so you have a couple of basic attacks, whatnot. You get some items you can pick up. And right now I'm just trying to upgrade all the graphics so it looks better. It plays in the browser and will be tied to a website that is going to be used as kind of like a prank for some friends. And then I realized, oh, this is actually turning out to be pretty decent. And so now I've been trying to improve it slowly but surely. And we're almost within spitting distance of it being ready to be, shown. This was the inspiration behind it. It's so very bad. So this was the reference. This game that you can find over on W3 School. It's Flappy Bird. And so I took so this is the only amount of tutorials that I've used to try and go through this. It's been a very difficult process to try and learn how to do this. But you know what? It's actually working. It's not having too many problems. It functions. It's got some items you can go and pick up and whatnot, and use them to get around the map. Very simple. But you know what? Simple is good for a first time. The second game will be a lot more complex, if I ever get to that point. Got a couple other projects I got to get finished first. I dabble in everything creative, so I got animations coming out, I got books coming out, I got games coming out. I don't know when to kind of call quits on a project, and so I just take on more than I can chew in that sense and just learn how to deal with it. But yeah, hopefully there will be some really neat things to come in the future. But the goal was to try and make a game that was similar to an old Game Boy game. And been learning how to do tile systems, how to, get the animations on sprites figured out. It's been quite the adventure. Game's probably going to be finished. The amount of time it takes to play through it right now is about 2 minutes. Later on next week, I'm going to be expanding the game, because once you get the basics figured out, it's pretty easy to add on levels. So hopefully we get to the point of where we have a lot more time that it takes to play it. The goal is to try and have something between 5 and 10 minutes. I don't want to take it much further than that. It's too simple of a game to, try and do too much. What does the preview show? Part of a map? So this is how it's going to look in the browser. Now I'm going to, refine it a little bit. But this is what the game looks like when you play it on the website. Why a website? Because I didn't want to have to install stuff onto people's computers. Long and short of it. But this is what it currently looks like. And I'm trying to just refine the graphics so it will be better. I did want to have some lighting, but I couldn't figure that out. And honestly, it would take way too much time to have to bother with it. So I have a couple of wall lights. And right now I'm in the process of just getting the walls updated with something a little bit nicer. Or what I hope is nicer. Anyway, how you doing, Jersey? Talking about the small preview window in the tile program. Oh, that shows what it looks like at scale. And so based upon my screen, that is based upon 40 pixels across. You can zoom in and see a little bit more, but it's just a thumbnail, so you can be able to see what you're looking at while you zoom in with everything else. You can see what it's looking like without having to zoom out and in constantly. If you're dedicated to this, or is it a hobby? I'm a creative, I guess you could say hobbyist. I am somebody who was trying to get into the industry and things didn't quite work out the way I was wanting. And so I got story ideas, I got game ideas. What do you do with that desire to want to make that sort of stuff? You just start making it. When people finally like it, it'll pan out. But anyway, that being said, it does have other uses, and this is the website that I've built over the years, and this is the animation that's coming out. I had so many render problems. It's almost there. Got a story that's being written. Have a story that did come out last fall, and you can be able to read it on the website over here. But there will be an area over on the left where people will see Game Corner, and they can go there and they can play this game and whatever else I want to put over there. This is where I just kind of have, all the projects that I'm working on. And then I get a chance to showcase it and not have to worry about some platform trying to, cause problems. So, anyway, some neat stuff coming out, I hope. We'll have to wait and see, though, if it actually does happen. Because a couple of things like Pharaoh and the Smith took a while to create. But now it actually works now. You can actually come and read it. And yes, it has a couple of glitches, which is part of why I wanted to make the game, so I can make this process faster. Because right now, like you just saw, real time, it took a while to load up the web page for this book. And there's a couple of other glitches that still take place. But the goal is to try and get better at coding, so that way I can go back and fix things like this and make it more refined for people to enjoy. Don't you need those files as separate, like every floor or wall texture as a separate file, or have you found out a workaround? So, there is a workaround for this, and it comes with preloading different elements. So let's say, for example, you want to edit the floor. Let's pull up the file here. This is the game right here. For those that have not seen this already, this is what the game code looks like. Let's move the code over here on the right, and let's move the game over on the left. There we go. Minimize that. Okay, here we go. This is the game code. This big block of purple is how I run the map. And if you'll notice, we'll zoom in. It's going to have a bit of text wrapping here, so pardon that. If you notice right here, it's a bunch of ones, zeros, and a couple of letters. The zeros represent the floor. And so when you look at this grid, you can see a pattern starting to appear. This is how I made the map. I know, this is a really dumb method, but this is how they used to make maps once upon a time. These are all the items you can find around the map right here. But we come down here, and when you have the floor, it detects what areas are 0 on the map, right here. Zoom in here. And based upon that, it then creates an array of different floor tiles to work with. And by putting in more or less, it will start to randomly choose one of these items to put out on the floor. That is why you can see that are different floor tiles out there. That's why the wall has some variety to it. That's why some of them have pipes, some of them have lights and panels, things like that. In doing so, it helps to give some interest to the map. So this works. What I'm trying to figure out is how to get it to look uniform enough and still stand out enough to where it is, interesting and doesn't cause any problems. But anyway, that's how this game currently functions. And this is just for a reference, yes. So I'm drawing them all side by side, and then they all get exported as individual parts. And then it randomly grabs from there. Once I finish these wall panels, I'm going to be stitching it together, and then you can see what it actually looks like to, start to add it in. Hopefully these wall tiles actually look good in game, because I'm not liking how it's looking right now. I actually have gotten a little too attached to the original wall design. All right, let's pull up the reference, because I want to keep some of the stuff relatively similar. How many of those do you plan to do for walls or floors? Like 30. Because this is a simpler game, I'm just going with 8 for the walls, and I'm going with 3 for the floor. If there is an expansion upon this game, then there will be more. But it kind of has to, be something that people would enjoy. Otherwise, there's no point in trying to expand upon the game. There's too many other projects to try and work on anyway. By the way, things like Pharaoh the Smith, the story that you can read right now. So anyway, goal is to just eventually get to a point of where I've learned what I need to, and then I can move on to the next project, whatever that is. Right now, I got to get an animation finished, and I've had so many problems with that. And I realized that I need a team of people to help me out with some of the bigger projects. Otherwise, some of the bigger projects will never happen. So I got to be careful about that. Just adding a pattern out here to break it up a little bit, make it have a little bit more interest. Maybe this is a type of another type of vent, one that's closed up. Now let's do another panel over here. These, I don't know. How many of those is the best way to put it? These is more like if I'm saying this right in front of me, these. You referring to something I'm working on, it's those. Man, English is weird. We can thank a couple of people for making English such a very confusing language. We can thank the Romans. We can thank the Vikings, the Germanics, and the Norse. All the people that invaded England is why English is so confusing. Golly. It's actually a very fascinating language when you stop to think about it. It's become very much a utility sort of language that has a lot of versatility because it got so many other languages added into it. It was annoying for us Slavs to learn because you don't write the same as you read it in English, which is super weird at first. Yeah. Yep. I completely agree. At least it's not as confusing as Chinese. Oh my goodness. Yeah. Fascinating language, but man, is it confusing. Gonna get me some more water. Be right back. That's why German is a bit easier to learn, even though it's very similar to English, as they read it the same as it is written. Absolutely. I like German. I almost became fluent in German. I lived in Germany for many years, and when I was learning English, I was also hearing German. And so when I was a kid, it was like starting to click. And then we moved, and I didn't get a chance to really solidify it. Well, we went back years later, and I started picking up on it again really fast. If I was to be dropped down in Germany and just left there for about 2-3 months, I probably would become fluent. I already have the backbone of the language in me to figure it out. Man, I miss Germany. Okay, yeah, it's going to work. But I have to undo that and try it again. I like how many undos this program has. It's a fairly simple program, so to have that many undos is actually pretty easy for them to have. Move that underneath. Now let's try that again. Oh, let's select this right here, and now do it. Add in some variety. And now, going to blur it just a little bit. Oh, wrong one. Now, I'm going to decrease it gradually with the erase. Without and with. So that just brightens it up a little bit. Question is, do I add that to each one of them? When I moved to Germany for a little over a month, I spoke a weird hybrid of English and German. Good thing those languages are similar. But I don't think I would be able to communicate without knowing English already. English is a Germanic language, so it makes sense. If you were to draw like a box of the different languages that make up English, it is so very weird to realize how many words come from different places, like Norse. We have so many Norse words in English that I had no idea were the case. A lot of English, a lot of the normal speech, you could say, actually has a lot of Norse inspiration. A lot of High English has a whole lot of French. The middle area tends to have a whole lot of German, and from like Middle English, like the middle tier English down to lower class English tends to be Germanic. It's the French stuff that confuses people. The Germanic stuff, the Norse stuff, not nearly as much. I never got to go to Norway, but I had some relatives that went there, and they really enjoyed it. A lot of my family looks like we come directly from Scandinavia. We have a lot of Scandinavian blood in us, and but yet I've never been to any other place other than Denmark. Denmark's as far into Scandinavia as I got to go. I erased that, by the way, because I wasn't liking how very different it was. So we're going to try something slightly different. There we go. Now that looks a lot better. Let's add in a little red light to this as well. Right here, I think. And one more. There now looks like we have add a little bit of a glow back here. Be like that. And erase that a little bit. There we go. By the way, folks, if you're on a platform that you have the ability to like or dislike the stream, feel free to do so. It helps me to know what people find interesting. If you're on the Twitch side, you can't really do that. All you have to do is, chat yay or nay. But most of you have already said that one way or the other. It's more for the people that are on the other platforms. In particular, you on Rumble, which I kind of doubt that you're actually flesh and blood. I think you're probably a bunch of bots. But if you are flesh and blood, prove me wrong by pressing the thumbs up or the thumbs down. I really doubt that we have lurkers who come here just, in general. But it's possible. It is possible. I only visited 4 neighboring countries, but they're all like the same except Ukraine, which is a bit like it's stuck in the 80s or something. Out of those 4, I only have trouble in communicating in Germany, as they don't speak Slavic. That's to be understandable. Understandable. I love languages. I love that there are so many languages in this world. It's fascinating. I don't know how to speak them. I barely know how to speak English at times. But I greatly value other languages. And in a big part, it's because, honestly, it's how God made it to be. And I do find it absolutely incredible, the way that that it helps to prevent cultures from completely mixing. That allows us to have variety in this world. The reason why we have so many cultures, so many different types of food, so many different types of activities or traditions is because of language barriers. Some people want to get rid of language barriers. I don't want to. I think it's important to maintain some level of isolation, because in that it allows you to flourish. It is fascinating to consider. Are there languages that are super similar to English? It's super fun to know one Slavic language, as by knowing one, you kind of know all the others, as they just sound as funny or weird variations of the one you know. Not really. Not really. Yeah, indeed. The most variety that we have, you could say, is British English, Welsh, Scottish, Irish. It's more dialects. And we all can understand each other, though. It all is rooted in a very common, overarching language. Yes, does it get a little confusing? It does. But for the most part, the traditional languages of the cultures have all been blended. It's kind of weird about Irish, though, because that one happened very recently. Scottish kind of disappeared a very long time ago. Welsh morphed and became like Welsh English. And then we have American English added into the mix. We have Australian added in. There is variations in all the languages. There are different references. There's different sentence structures in some cases. But those are the ones that I would say are distinct. Now, once upon a time, if you were to go to London, there were considered so many different dialects inside of London itself that it was basically like each part of the city had a different language. And then during the Victorian era, a lot of those languages started to disappear. A lot of the variations started to disappear. The reason why? Modern communications. It unified the language. I can understand an Australian now with relative ease. My grandfather would have found it very confusing. Media has unified our languages to a very big extent. We also have very porous borders for each other's countries. We travel back and forth all the time. It's very easy for us to stay on top of things. We also watch each other's media constantly, so thus we are very familiar with the languages. Oh yeah, so it's something like that then. You won't understand anything when spoken quickly, but when someone speaks slowly, it is totally manageable. It has unified a lot more so, though. Back in like the early 1900s, it was a lot harder. But now it's gotten a lot more manageable. That being said, the language is starting to split. We don't know along what lines it's splitting necessarily, but I do know one faction of English that is starting to become so very different, it's probably going to become its own variation. Now, I don't know where the line of this actually falls, but it has gotten to the point of where it can no longer be, where I can no longer think of it as anything but becoming its own language. And it's a version of Africana English or something like that. That is starting to change. And I don't know if it's necessarily for the best. Because, well, it is going to split away in that sense. And the question is, what will it become after that? I don't know. I kind of think it will become more African than English. But it is starting to sever. There's another one, too. And it is a type of Southeast Asian English. It's a variation. It was like spoken by people that it was their second language. Now it's kind of been adopted as their language. So it's a hybrid. One day it will become very hard to understand those people. Right now it's pretty easy to understand, but when they become their own group and maybe their own country, then yes, it will become near impossible. By the way, that is probably going to happen. Language is the great divider among cultures. It's probably going to transpire one day. It's heading in that direction. So, it's very interesting to think about. Greetings there, TW. How you doing? I'm at 60 subscribers. Hey, congrats, TW. Glad to hear. Oh, I know what to do for this. Okay, detail over top, and we're going to add in darker right there. Add that. Oh, grab that. Move it on up for that red, and there we go. Let's add this in here. Actually, let's add another layer for this. Okay. Gonna add a little bit more here and there. There, that's it. Just a little bit here and there. Actually, let's get rid of this one over here. I don't want there to be too much. It's just supposed to tell the player, hey, gotta be careful in some areas. Okay, now we want to have another computer part of some kind. So let's see. This one's going to be maybe a little bit simpler. Let's have let's have a little green screen, and have over here some red buttons to be able to press. Come underneath, and this is our lighting area. We're going to just add a little bit of outer glow. Now we're going to blend it. There we go. That was easy. What else should we add here? Let's add in an external panel right here. There, like that. Darken that edge right there. And add in a darker edge right there. And let's add that on this one back here. Just because there's a little bit of blending that happens. I think I can get this to work with a little bit of blending. There we go. Let's add a little bit more something to this. Let's have this come down. Why? I have absolutely no idea. I'm just trying to add some interesting shapes to be able to work with. So let's have it to where this is like a control panel of some kind. That's good enough. Now the final one. What should be on the final one? Maybe another pipe, because we only have 2 pipes and there used to be many others. Let's do a pipe and then maybe add something else into the mix. Let's turn that up all the way. Grab the highlight and do it up along here and then right there. And voila, another pipe. Add a little bit of extra shadow along here actually, and then remove the lock alpha, come down here and add in this area right here. Okay, so now let us start adding this in to the game. Oh, wait a minute. That might be one more thing to consider. Oh, yeah. I have to do... I want to do something right along here. It won't take but a moment to do these ones. Just want to add in a little bit of texture along here. Kind of like... what do I want to do? The fun thing about Slavic languages is that some of them use Latin alphabets and some use Cyrillic that was created specifically to read Slavic symbols. You can easily see if a Slavic country is Catholic or Orthodox based on the ones that use the that were Christianized over 1,000 years ago by Catholic kingdoms that used Latin alphabets, or the Catholic Slavic countries needed to modify the Latin alphabet and added their own letters to be used for unique sounds that Latin languages don't use, which isn't very often. Same thing with English. We actually had an effort trying to be done in like the late 1800s, early 1900s to change the English language and make it so that we used a different alphabet. I actually liked the idea. I did not like the characters, though. They did not look like anything traditional. If there's any script that can be associated with English-speaking cultures, it would have to be either Nordic runes or Ogham script from Scotland or Gaelic countries. those are the languages that I would like to see kind of used for some of our, if we were to redo the English alphabet. It adds in variations for things like the letters that we have to make combinations for. And it's very frustrating, honestly, because we have a lot of spelling problems, and that could solve most of our issues. But it introduces a lot of other problems. It would have made it a lot more difficult to create the digital world that we work with, just because it was not uniform enough. And while it could have helped out with the writing, it would have also introduced a lot of confusion, because Latin letters actually allow us to add some extra variety, so words that sound similar have extra variety, so you can figure out which ones it means. And a good example is when you have the same word, such as there, being used for different things. There, as in it is theirs, there, as in over there, and things like that. By having a different spelling of it, you can tell which one it is. Chinese does something very similar, but if you were to do a complete redo of the English language, you would lose that ability to figure that stuff out. So in Cyrillic alphabets, every sound is marked with one letter, like this, which is sh, as in ship in English, or Strasse in German. And in my Latinized Polish alphabet, the sh needs to be written as ts. I think that's how you're supposed to pronounce it, so my apologies if I'm getting it wrong. I'm influenced by my my Asian studies. We also use unique letters like C, S, Z, Z, and O, also combined. Oh, yes, indeed. I gotta listen to... I gotta, do a study of Slavic languages. I like dabbling in different languages. I don't know very many, but I know enough to understand and appreciate. But I gotta get into Slavic sometime. Sh, as in ship. Ah, that's easy. In Chinese, oh, there's some weird ones. Some very weird variations. We're not doing anything too elaborate for this one, just because... actually, I'm not going to do a variation for that. It's just the sidewall. No one's going to notice it, or shouldn't notice it. Alright, let's just start exporting this. Alright, so we're going to save this. And let's try exporting this. Now I could export this as one sprite sheet, but that would require me to do some extra coding, and I don't want to try and gamble that right now, because I don't want to go for too long tonight. I'm going to be doing more of this tomorrow, and I'll try and code this part as something separate here. So for right now, what we're going to do is wall sheet, because this is going to be version 1, because we're going to go back and cut this up later on. Export that. I just realized I want a couple of other ones too. Something that's a little bit more muted. I realize that's way too noisy. Way too noisy. So, stand by. These ones are going to be very quick, because I just need something to help soften the amount of fancy items that are in the background. Copy, paste. 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 By the way, folks, just a reminder. I have no intentions of trying to make another game for a while. But when I do, it is going to be a non-combative game, and it's supposed to be it's supposed to be like a puzzle game. And I've not seen a puzzle game like this so far, and there's a lot of things you can do, and I already have a story to go along with this. But if you want to see that in the future, comment on the video and say that you would like to see it. I'm not going to do it just yet. I got other projects to do, but if we get enough interest in that, then I will start to figure out how to make that happen. I'm going to need to hire some help if that does happen, because I'm not going to be able to do all the pixel art work myself. And I know exactly who I would want to go out and get, and he goes for a modest price for right now. I think I could persuade him to join in on this. But anyway, that's something to think about for the future. All been created just to fill the gaps that Cyrillic languages already filled. So this one's going to be a simple, just bland wall right there. This one's going to be just a little bit of variation right here. What should I do with this? Let's have a diagonal panel. Everything's a little too straight, so let's do a couple of stuff like that. What should be on this one? Maybe... maybe something along the floor. This one, final one, will be another diagonal panel. It'll come out from here and just go down, loop back in. That, very simple. This one will stretch across. We also have the reference thing right here. All right, so we got that good. Now we save it. And there's two more things we have to do. This is based upon the reference material that I'm seeing right here. There's going to be this right here. 2 ceiling panels. I'm at a weird part of doing art where it's basically done, but not really, and I'm wondering what to add. Change lighting, shadows, background, or expressions even. I wonder how long the perfectionist part of me will keep me at the stage. Maybe I should give myself a strict deadline. You know, I don't have a lot of finished projects out there. But it's not because I don't have finished projects. It's that I don't have ones that are in a stage that I was willing to share with the world. Streaming has forced me to stretch outside of my comfort zone. No longer was I just endlessly working on projects and then keeping them top secret. I was actually putting them out there. The amount of stuff you all have seen me do on stream is a fraction of the stuff that I've done. They're finished, but they weren't ever put out there. Part of the reason why is because you start to second guess yourself. And sometimes the perfectionist side of you can start to say, I just got to do a little bit more. Let me put it this way. You'll eventually reach a point of where you have to put something out there. Because otherwise, you'll never do it. And so, eventually you'll start to find a balance. What's too far? What's not far enough? Notice what I've done right here. I wanted to do 4 panels. Now I am at 12. 4 panels of wall. That's what I did for tonight. I allowed the deadline to go further than what I was expecting, but it's with the intention of using it in the future. It's actually going to be utilized. Doing more is fine if you have a reason for it. And sometimes you do something multiple times because you really know down deep something has to change. Allow yourself to experiment. Add a little bit here, add a little bit there. Set a deadline for yourself on some projects and don't for others. See which one works out better. And then use that as your reference moving forward. But definitely put it out there sooner rather than later. Because otherwise you'll be stuck in endless iterations and you'll never get something done. Allow yourself to expand, kind of like what I'm doing. Go further. But definitely say, okay, now's the time to actually do something about it. And then you bring it to an end. So a soft deadline is what I would encourage. Oh boy, getting stuck again, yeah. It is important to move on. Kind of like the Lego project that I was talking about last night. It's going to take them years to finally get a project done. That's years of their life that they'll never actually be able to say that they finished anything. In the meantime, I've been able to make animations, books, websites, and a video game. All in the amount of time that's taking them to try and get one thing done. It's not necessary to try and do complete in total perfection. Come on, why is this not working? There we go. Better. The most annoying feeling ever is where you think that you maybe, by adding a little bit more vivid colors or weird multiply layers, and it looks 1,000 times better. Yeah, indeed. I feel like once you know JavaScript, you better go to C++. In the first place, it's maybe 5% harder, but that's it. That's a good point, GameZoo. There's one hindrance, though, and that is this I can run on my own website with, like, no effort. So yes, there is a benefit to going to C++, and honestly, maybe I should do that. Anyway, how you doing this evening, GameZoo? Maybe for the next game that will happen. Originally, this was just to learn so I could get, better at stuff for my website, but, anyway. That's going to be the last of the tiles here, and I'll probably add more later on. But for now, we're going to save that and start cutting it up for the game. All right, let's see here. I got to remember how to do this. Well, hopefully the game turns out decently. It's supposed to be done around next week. I'm just doing a visual update, trying to create better graphics. The original graphics were pretty bad, and so I'm trying to make things feel a little bit nicer. For example, originally, this right here were some of the keys that you would pick up around the map. And during this update, now this is the design. So it's a little bit of an improvement, just visually trying to make it more interesting, more refined, because, you know, that's pretty pitiful, and that was a stand-in graphic. But it was things like that that I'm in the process of correcting. But I think I'm over halfway done with the artwork. I gotta update the player, gotta update the creatures, and I gotta update the some of the artwork that's supposed to go into the some of the Easter egg areas of the game. I like the attack animation too much to get rid of it and change it, but maybe I'll add another attack in a couple of days, you know, after the game comes out. Very simple game, by the way. Very, very simple game. But more complex than Flappy Bird, which was the template that I originally based this off of. So I guess that's an improvement. All right. Oh, yeah. Where is this? Export files, tile set, import sheet and export as PNG. To save each individual, the process will allow you to create separate for each tile in your grid. Okay, so we come over here, export. Export as. Canvas selection, visible layers, frames, selected frames. Okay, let's go back. What are the frames here? New frame. Oh, okay, interesting. All right, let's try this. New frame. No, that's not it. Oh, no. That's what it is. New frame of animation. Split into individual files. So, the next game that I kind of want to do, the one that's like, you know, I got inspired based upon this, and it wouldn't take much to update it to like the actual concept. It would be an art sort of game, an art puzzle game. And it's actually, the more I thought about it, the more complex the idea got. I'm the type of person where the moment I get an idea, I take it to like the far extreme of what it can be. And I don't stop. I try and figure out how to actually make it happen. My website is a good example of that. The more I put in so much time and effort into something that's completely pointless, but that's the sort of person I am. So now I have this idea about this game that I want to make. Maybe next year I'll try and figure out how to pull it off. But for now, I've got other projects to get figured out first. Got a book to figure out, got animations to figure out, and then after that I can go to actually making a legit original game. This one's just kind of a gimmick game, designed to try and give people a bit of a laugh, a little bit of interest. And it was made specifically for a D&D community. And then after that, you can reskin it to something else in the future. Maybe. If people want it. But it's not a good enough game to try and do that. I have to think of something really interesting. But the other game, the one that I would like to make, would be original, one of a kind, as far as I can tell, and has some really neat things you can do. So hopefully we can get to there one day. But until then, likes would help out with getting us there, and otherwise, I'll just work on other projects. Which, anyway, I take on way too many tasks. I do know that about myself. Read to frames. Export as individual sprites. Oh. Is another one entirely. Much appreciated for the follow there, Game Zoo. Hopefully you find something around here that you can enjoy and learn from. I need to go and speak to Bizmaster about some techniques, because I need to get better with this tool, and he's an expert at it. Oh, it's a third-party thing. Nope, we're not doing that. We're just going to cut it up as is. Okay, let's do this the old-fashioned way. So what we're going to do is we're going to save this. Save as. It's going to be merge. And that way we know that it has all been combined together. Merge that down, merge that down, merge that down, down, down. Okay, wonderful. Now we select this, copy, come over to floor, and paste. Save that as wall upper left version 1. Save that as a PNG. Copy that. And then, well, I guess I shouldn't have copied that because I'm not going to be able to use that. Grab that, copy, paste. Export as, here we go. Upper middle UM 1. Copy that, come over here, and upper right, export, copy. I know, this is getting repetitive. Boring stuff. This is the majority of what projects are like. Middle right. Copy, paste. Middle left. Copy, paste. Lower right. lower left. Now the rest of these are going to be specialty parts. It's going to be ceiling 1. No, this is what do I have the other one named as? So I want to keep this. Oh, I did not name it ceiling, but I'll name this one ceiling. Okay. That. Copy. Two. Almost there. Well, not exactly. Now this is where it gets a little bit more complex. I want to do it like this. Okay. This is wall. This is going to be version. Oh. Version. I think I'm at 10 right now. Okay. 6. Oh, wait. No, I got rid of the other ones. 7. Copy. 8. 9. You know, this is too quiet, too calm for this moment right here. Where did I put that? Here we go. Cue some Pokemon music here. There we go. Perfect timing. Alright, so let's now bring this up. Bring up our code. Lower my tablet here because it's going to be a little hard to type this. Alright, so we want our walls. We're going to start off with wall 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. Wait a minute. Is that correct? 6, 7, 8. Okay, yeah, that is right. By the way, this is how we are creating our map. Well, our map elements. $17, $18. Okay, we went up to $18 for that. Okay, so now we have our corner. I'm gonna have wall lower left, wall lower right, and we'll update that later on with the correct other elements here, because we have to add a couple other map elements. Actually, I think I'm all done for the drawings portion, so I'm actually going to reset up my structure here a little bit, because I got to do a bit more typing than drawing, of course. So, might as well put the screen in front of my keyboard, rather than my keyboard behind my screen. I used to have a much smaller table for doing this. I was on a very cheap Costco plastic table, and it caused the camera to shake constantly. I was working off of a postage stamp for my keyboard and all my other stuff. Now I actually have a table I can stretch out. I can have this set up and not have to worry about it too much. Okay. I do have this as 1 wall LL1. Now we have to add in a couple more here. We have upper L, and we have upper right. Okay, that's correct. And then we also have the middle one. So we're going to grab this, and we have wall middle left. We have wall middle right. Okay. Let's go with lower left. Let's go in a circle. So we have upper left, then we go to upper middle, go to upper right. Then we go to middle left. We go to middle right. We go to lower left and lower right. And the other ones are all wall elements. Wall or ceiling. Let's rename this here. A, B, C, D, E, F, G. Upper left corner and going across is how we structure it. Let's put this map to full screen. And it might be a little hard for people to see. I don't claim to be an expert on this. I made this system very specifically because I wanted to learn the techniques. All right, so we have our grid. A, B, actually, let me put it right here. A, B, C, D, E, well, D, E, F, G. Okay, that's our system here. So here we want to start on adding in. This is E. E up. E. We can just add it all the way down here to E. 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 Eek. Magic. No. Logic. Lower left, lower right, that's going to be a G. Let's see, wall right here. Let's add in E, C, A. Let's just go around the horn completely. D. Now I'm getting like the pattern down. F, G. Up along the top. O. I was missing one. E. There we go. Two. Oh, I kind of needed a corner. We'll figure out a corner later on. That one's not necessary for this to work. And now we want this one. D. D. F. And we got upper right, A, D. And now we got this one, B, A, C. Bizmaster Studio! Greetings, sir. How are you doing? I've been meaning to come over and ask you questions about this program that you are such a master at. But you weren't online, and I need to come and consult you. How are you doing, sir? Been offline for more than a week, unfortunately. Ah, that explains why I've not been able to come over and ask you questions. What have you been up to, Bizmaster? Disaster happen at your home? Oh no. Did a kangaroo jump into your house? I hear that can be quite devastating. I'm sure it's probably a bit more sophisticated than that. Kangaroo would have done a bit less damage. Oh no. Dang, that doesn't sound good. By the way, I'm doing right now. I'm doing something completely stupid. I've made a map using this ridiculous system because I don't know how to code a way to properly do this. That's one of the reasons why I'm playing with numbers right now in kind of a senseless, what looks like a senseless fashion. E-D. Someone drove their car at 100 kilometers per hour into our house. Oh my goodness. We are in temporary housing, and it could take 6 to 12 months to rebuild / repair the damage. Oh my goodness. I am sorry to hear that, sir. I would offer my place for you to come and stay, but I think the airplane flight might be a little too much. Dang. What happened to the person who did the driving? Been a bit of a week. Completely understandable. Wow. That is tough. Everyone was unharmed. That's good. That's a positive. There was a guy that I went to school with. He came into class one day shaken, and he had been in a head-on collision with a drunk driver, full speed, and he was in a car with 4 people. And I thought for a second that he was going to say like everyone was like either buried or in a hospital. Nobody was injured. Head-on collision, full speed down the highway, and nobody was injured. He was like, that was a miracle. There was no way that should have happened. Which was good because, you never want a tragedy to strike like that. Did the insurance cover the repairs of the costs? He had minor injuries somehow. Isn't that how that always happens? The people who are like some of the craziest drivers end up with like almost no injuries. We're not sure yet. Should cover most of it, but unsure if we are going to have to have a home in 12 months or if they can, or if they run out of money. Ah, yeah. Well, keep us posted, sir. I am very sorry to hear about that, but glad that nobody was hurt. Very glad in that sense. We have been well supported by our family and friends network. Honestly, amazing people we have in our lives. I don't care what the insurance companies like to say. I don't care what the government has to say or education system, whatnot. Community is your best lifeline in your life. They're the ones that care the most. They're the ones that will be able to offer the most important help that you can ever have. I'm glad that you have that community. What is this maze of numbers you're messing with? This is the madness that I've been fighting with. This right here is a puzzle. A puzzle that will generate a map for me. Let me save this and see if it's even doing what it's supposed to be doing. This is the game that I've been building as just for the fun of it, to learn. And right now, this is how it functions. We have a little attacking animation. We have little items you can pick up. You have little computer terminals you can go over and hear stupid little dad jokes out of. We can be attacked by... Wait, where's the alien? We gonna be attacked by aliens? Oh, no! Just died. Restart. Hey, look, the map's actually being generated now correctly. We're adding new walls, and that was the thing. Adding new walls and trying to make it look a little bit more refined. You can see like we're somewhere in the middle. I'm not liking how this is turning out. I think I need to add some extra coloration for the walls to make them stand out. I am not the pixel master. You are the pixel master, sir. And I was trying to figure out how to get the program to operate so I could be able to generate this map a little bit more efficiently. But this whole thing is made off of this matrix. Because I didn't want to have to go out and place them all individually, and because I made this in JavaScript because I'm an idiot. So everything is built using JavaScript and HTML canvas. And to my knowledge, I don't know how to make a map with a tile system outside of doing this, because the collision boxes were too confusing if I went with another method. So I did this. I take the difficult road because I like the struggle. Something like that. Wait a minute. Pull up the map again. Oh, that's why. Need another G right there. Save that. Come back over here. Refresh. There we go. Now that wall's a little bit better. Let's see. I certainly not prefer to do it that way. But you know the one benefit of doing it this way? By having it in this manner, we can randomize the map. So here's the game. So this is it right here. We refresh it. It's a completely different setup here. And that way I don't have to micromanage the placement of all these different tiles, so I can have a little bit of randomization with it. So I wanted to experiment with it because I want to use it for my website. So I had to learn JavaScript. Like I said, I take things and go about it the hard way. But anyway, this is what I've been working on over the Christmas break, and I'm almost done. It should be done in about a week. Right now, I'm just in the process of trying to get the tile system figured out, and then I can put it out there and watch people solve it within like 2 minutes. But hey, it's a learning process, and I got what I needed out of it. The ability to use JavaScript to the next level. Pro movies flexing. Yeah, something like that. By the way, how did the I remember you were working on a game. It was like a space spaceship shooter game. How'd that one turn out? I know that you were like working with somebody else to pull that off or something like that. What's the status of it? And then also, how goes the card game? Not sure what he is up to these days. Ah, okay, so you did your part of it, and then you're just kind of waiting to see what happens with it. That's understandable. Almost done with this map right here. Next stream I'm going to be doing even more of these maps. I wish I knew a better way to do this. To be able to preserve it with the stupid code that I set it up with. Should be able to just copy this one. Copy this one at this point, because it's just down here. Hey, almost lined up perfectly. Okay, come over here and add in a C for there. No, not a C. It's what is it? E. Then we come up here, and this is the last little corner area here. E, G, A, B. It's starting to make more sense the more I do this, which is ridiculous. We like the hard things around here. Like to bang our heads on the keyboard and do completely... things are completely pointless. Okay, I messed up there. It's just this one that needs to have that. B. I was kind of bummed with a card game because the way the card game worked was super similar to how the Riftbound game and another highly funded Kickstarter TCG worked. So it is back to the drawing board to find something unique again. In the meantime, I'm going to finish an old project I put on the back burner a long while ago, so I have at least one damn finished project. I know the frustration, sir. I know the frustration. When I was getting out of college, I had an idea for a card game. And I started making it, and it was like, I was off to the races. I had a grand idea. And then I found out that there were 2 card games that came out simultaneously that were very, very, very similar. And so I scrapped the project and threw it to the side and thought, well, maybe one day I'll get to figure out how to do it. And I think I finally came up with like the technique to go about it about a year ago. And so now I have like an idea of what to do. But it took like 15 years to come up with the idea. Hopefully it does not take you that long. Hopefully it takes you just a few weeks or months. I was so close to finishing it, but yeah, those 2 came out late last year. I am sorry to hear that, sir. I remember there's a family friend that we have, and they told us a story one day. Their great-great-grandfather was an inventor, and one day he had an idea, and he started to build a prototype, and then he got so excited he ran down to the patent office. And when he was about ready to get there, he saw a bar off to the side. And he went into the bar. And he got drunk. He passed out. And he woke up the next morning. He walked into the patent office and found out to his horror, someone had already, just hours beforehand, submitted a very, very similar patent. They had not stolen it. It was still in his pocket. The person who did it was Alexander Graham Bell. The guy had thought of a telephone, and Alexander Graham Bell had thought of the same thing. And so he submitted the patent. Otherwise, it would have had a very different person associated with it. And the moral of the story is that innovation is usually timed to an era. If Thomas Edison had not given us the light bulb, for example, we still would have had the light bulb. Technology would have still progressed. The reason why is because it was the knowledge that was accumulating, not one person. Sometimes you get somebody who propels us forward a little bit faster. Sometimes you don't. But we're in a very educated society, and so trying to come up with ideas means you have to get it out fast and then refine it later on. Or you have to come up with something so wildly unique that no one's ever going to think of it again. But yeah. The goal is not to get depressed, but instead to realize, you know what? That means that you will still have an opportunity to try and come up with something else again, because it's your creativity that you are relying upon, not one idea. Great thing about card games, you can repurpose it. And so, I think you'll finally figure out something. If you need some ideas, I can always send ideas your way, but I'll leave that to you to come up with the creativity for your product. All right, we're almost done. We have... Oh, it's not that one. It's this one right here. No, not that one. This one. Here we go. It's hard to see on this. D and B. All right, I think that was the last of it. E, G, G. No, not G. It's E. And that's G. Okay, D, not, come on, D, F. Save. Pull up the game and refresh. And it's broken. What did I do? Oh no. What went wrong? Okay. I did something wrong. And I don't know what. Flaming Frosty? Try turning it on and off. Oh no. Oh golly. All right, gonna press the power on the computer. Oh wait. I need a little like effect of where like the screen cuts out. Half the work is done considering how much art I have done. Yeah, indeed. That is indeed a lot of artwork that you did. And of which is all very good as well. I always like seeing when you post your artwork. Gotta go, says Jersey. Rest well, sir. Have a good day. And we'll see you next time, whenever that is. Oh, wait, no? Nope, no, it's not that. I'm staring into the void. This is not good. Okay, let's look for commas. Wait, why will it not highlight the comma? Find all. There we go. Okay, we're looking for the rows here. It's worse if the void stares back. Oh no. Oh, there it is, there it is, there it is. Okay. Okay, found the problem. It was a missing comma. There we go. Hey, we got our game. Let's go get attacked by an alien. Oh, attack. Blah. All right, let's explore a little bit. Leave me alone, you monster. Wait, there you go. Now you'll die. Let's go in here, turn on our searchlight, and zap. We need some batteries. Pick up the batteries. I got to get rid of that yellow box. That's my collision box. Avoid the aliens. Gonna go up here. Go on in. And I don't think I put any other ones between here and there. I just want to see if I can... Okay, I can see the alien. I'm looking along the walls, trying to see if it looks right. Okay, there's one area that is incorrect, and it's up here in the corner. Right here. That is a C, not a B. Hype. Be right back. Yeah, the hype. We can go up the ladder. Whoa, alien. Zap the alien. Go up, grab the key card. All right, that's another corner that needs to be done. That's an A. Key card now lets us in. Okay, gotta watch out for the alien. Zap. Oh, come on. I wonder why that one happened. Of course, it resets us back there. There we go. Explore a little bit more. Oh, there's another area right up here. This one needs to be an A. There we go. Just move that over here. There we go. That looks decent. Come over here. That looks good. That looks good. That looks good. Wait a minute. Did I just walk over the aliens? Well, I'm down to 1 health. Oh, come on. Okay, well, that's a glitch that I have to look out for. I am not good when it comes to programming. Okay, so now we got to go back down here because there's one more area right down here in the corner. We have E and needs to be turned to... This one right here needs to be turned to a G. Come over here. Zap. And then this one needs to be turned into an F. That gets turned into a D. This one into an A. B. B. This one gets turned into D. One more area over there. C. Oh, okay, there's another C that needs to be done. E to C. Put the kettle on. Gonna have to... I'm going to have my first home cup of tea in almost a week. You know, a nice cup of tea can be very nice. I prefer iced tea because, you know, I'm addicted to cold. By the way, we got freezing rain today. It's getting slippery out there. And yet, despite all the snow and all the ice, I still go with icy drinks. I struggle with hot drinks. Cannot stand them. Yeah, okay, that is indeed correct right there. Right, the last little corner here, and then we can... Oh, wait a minute. What the heck? What is going on there? Oh, that's because it's supposed to be E. 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 That explains it. Finish our walk. Okay, that's correct. Now let's try and zap the monster. Oh yeah, that's right. We have to get our key up here. Zap the monster. And it glitches. I gotta figure out what that glitch is tomorrow, because that is obviously causing problems. Double check along here. This is our final pass of this. So far, it's looking correct. Oh, that was close. Get all these without having to zap all the little alien monsters. Zap. Uh-huh. That's a problem. We want to change that from, let's see here. It's right there. This gets turned into a 1. This is such a sophisticated way of making a map. Copy that. And paste all the way up to there. There, that's correct. Looks correct. I'm going to add a filter to make the walls stand out a little bit from the floor. And there's the glitch again. Okay. We're just going to go straight. Now it's happening more often. I think I know what's causing this, but it will take a bit of troubleshooting tomorrow to get that figured out. We have to get that so we can get up to the next level. Because I think it's when you're trying to move and you press the button too quickly. That's what seems to be happening. Zap. Oh, he's supposed to be dead. Well, it still works. It's still functional. Silly little game. Still has bugs. But you know what? It's operational. And I'm ready to finally start adding in the story elements. This has been an interesting experiment. And hopefully the next game, which is a far more complex game, will actually be doable. It won't happen right away. But I just want to reiterate this once more. During the process of making this game, I thought of an idea. And it's a game that I've not seen anybody do yet. But it would be way too complex to do right now. But it would require a lot of pixel art. And I do not have the time to try and do something like that, let alone code the thing. But I think next year we can actually give that a shot. We'll see. It's going to use some of the same stuff that I used for this one, but it'll be far more complex. I know a pixel artist! Indeed. No, I would definitely be reaching out to you, Bizmaster, if I go with the idea. It's a type of puzzle art game, and I've not seen anybody do this except one game, and it wasn't even close to what this one would be. I already have the story figured out, but the one thing I can't figure out is the complex original aspect of the game. So we had somebody last night give a whole bunch of subscribers as part of the support for trying to get a game out there. So who knows? Maybe that's what I'm supposed to be doing. Maybe I'm supposed to start making random games. Well, not random. There's some complex stuff. As we start to wrap up here, just a couple of things to remind folks. We do have the little booklet, Fair and the Smith. It's being made into a booklet that people can be able to use, have as in physical form. It's already on the website for free, so this is like a cheap little personal printing sort of concept for those that have requested it. We're going to be pulling out the t-shirts again here before long. I was hoping to get to them over the Christmas break, but then this game came up. Random. Yes, indeed, random. Milo and the Demon Bear is getting close to completion. I have spent many months developing that story, and the story is almost complete. Now I'm entering the editing phase. All the story elements are for the most part figured out. Now I just got to stitch all those pieces together. Milo and the Demon Bear is the biggest project that I've done so far. And no, it is not an actual demon. Don't worry, for those that want to have family-friendly stuff. This is actually has a different title, but I don't want to put it out there just yet because I have experienced in my years, I have already experienced people try and steal ideas. And so I am keeping this under wraps of what the final story title is going to be, and then it will be, you'll kind of tip off people as to what the story is actually about. But it is, that will be sometime this year. I hope to put it out. Hopefully by summer. If not, it will be by early fall, God willing. Animations, got to get back to the animations after this game is finished, and we'll move on from there. Let us see who is currently out there able to be rated. By the way, we are back on Twitch. This is our second stream of being on Twitch in a long time. So far, we've not gotten any of the violent bots coming along, which was the reason for why we left. And so, thankfully, it seems to be calmed down a bit. So hopefully that holds moving forward. We'll have to wait and see. It was good to see you, by the way, Bizmaster, tonight. It was good to see you again, or at least see your text on the screen. Hope that the housing situation gets resolved. If you need a nicer tent, I'm sure that we can ship you one from the U.S., one that's, designed for cold weather. It might not be good for Australia, but, it'll be nice and durable. Keep the bears out. Oh, wait, you don't have bears down there. All right, now who can we go to tonight? Oh, right. You have to wait for the ads to finish here. Okay, this guy looks promising. How about, let's look for, the koala bears. Or what are the ones that you guys call drop bears? Are those wombats? Oh, now this is interesting. So somebody is also doing pixel art for a game. So let's go over and visit them. Could be interesting. Oh, they're also working in Asprite as well. Drop bears don't exist. Don't tell anyone that, though. My brother had a hilarious story about an Australian who was telling stories about the deadly drop bears. Top secret. Shh. It's right up there with Bigfoot. All right. All right, we have someone to go and raid tonight. Oh, wait a minute. No, this is in a different language. We can't do that. Because it got super awkward last time we did that. Super awkward. Okay, this looks good. We'll go over here. Other koalas get aggro. They haven't eaten in a while since eucalyptus leaves get them high. Poor little hungry koalas. Go out and make a koala friend. All right. We have our raid figured out. Have a very pleasant evening and morning, everybody. Just a reminder to one and all, be civil to one another. And now let's go and spread some civility over to Peanuts Punch. And we will see you all next time. Till then, everyone, have a very pleasant evening. All right, and to the rest of you folks, once this takes place, we're going to be closing out here. Leave a like or dislike as you see fit, and I will appreciate that support very much. And even if you dislike it, I will still appreciate it because it means you're flesh and blood. See you all next time.